Citizens Insurance is laying a trap for Florida homeowners. And the worst part is you don't know you're in it until it's too late. I'm going to explain why no hope is better than false hope. Florida passed a law that gave Citizens Insurance a massive advantage. Instead of being sued in a normal court in front of a neutral judge with normal people being the jury, Citizens can drag its customers into an arbitration process in front of the Department of Administrative Hearings, DOAH, what we call DOAH. Citizens tells homeowners, lawmakers, the news that this is a better process because it's faster and more efficient. And that's true. It happens in 90 days, which is very, very quickly, but it's only half true. Here's what Citizens isn't telling people. In this system, Citizens wins almost every case. And we've got the receipts. The links are in the description on 2 news articles. One saying that Citizens is winning more than 90%. Another says they're winning 99% of the cases that go before a DOAH hearing. That's not a fair fight. That's a rigged game. So you don't really have your day in court in a DOAH hearing. Instead, you're walking into a system where you're virtually guaranteed to lose. And losing doesn't just mean that Citizens pays you nothing. It means that you might have to pay Citizens attorney's fees, which could be tens of thousands of dollars. So let me tell you about what this looks like in real life. I'm going to tell you the story from one of the articles that we've posted. So a couple made a claim for water damage. They came home from work. There's water pooling on the ground. Now, Citizens policy says they'll cover water damage if it comes from a leak hidden in the walls. When Citizens sent the adjuster out, the adjuster couldn't figure out where the water was coming from, so they denied the claim. A few days later, the homeowner had a plumber come out. The plumber opened up the wall and found there was a leaking pipe in there, hidden in the wall. This is something that should have been covered. The homeowner asked Citizens to change its mind. Citizens didn't. So the couple challenged Citizens and said, we're going to sue you. But instead, Citizens pulled them into the Department of Administrative Hearings. And this is how this went. So the judge there wouldn't allow that couple to depose the adjuster. That would be completely unheard of in a normal court. And then Citizens made an offer to the couple. They offered the husband $250 and the wife $250. This is on a claim that was worth $40,000. That's how much it cost to repair the water damage. And those offers came with a catch. If they didn't accept them and they lost the hearing, which they had an almost certain chance of doing in this system, they would have to pay the attorney's fees for Citizens, which would have been tens of thousands of dollars. So they accepted it. They accepted $500 on a $40,000 claim that should have been covered. And let's talk about that DOAH judge. That DOAH judge is paid by Citizens exclusively. She makes about $180,000 a year. And what was her job right before becoming a DOAH judge? She worked as a defense attorney for a firm whose client was Citizens. Tell me how that's a fair fight. So this is why I said no hope is better than false hope. If Florida just passed a law that said you can never challenge Citizens, you're stuck with their decision, at least it would be honest. You'd know if you buy a Citizens policy, you're at their mercy. Whatever they do, you're stuck with. That would actually be better than the fake DOAH process where people think they have a fair chance of getting a result, and instead they end up paying Citizens attorney's fees or taking $250. I mean, imagine calling the cable company and saying my cable doesn't work. Wouldn't it be better to be told, hey, we're just not going to come out, you're stuck, than for them to send a tech out who doesn't help you and steals your TV? That's what DOAH is doing. It doesn't just fail to help you, it actually actively hurts people and puts them in a worse position than they were before they challenged the claim. So DOAH is not a good process. It's not a real one that has any chance of success. And the only guaranteed way to get a different result is to avoid Citizens. That is the only way to avoid DOAH. That's a feature, not a bug. Citizens doesn't want to insure anybody in the state of Florida. So if you're with Citizens now, or if your agent offers you a Citizens policy, you have to ask yourself this question. Do I want a policy that I can enforce? Or am I just checking a box for my mortgage company and I'm okay being at Citizens' mercy? Because if you're with Citizens, you're buying a piece of paper that says insurance on it, but that you have no ability to enforce in any real way. So at a minimum, when you're looking at insurance, get quotes from other places. Ask your agent to give you quotes from companies that are not Citizens. And if you want to help this, call your state legislator. This is not something that should continue. There's at least one bill up now to try to change this process and make it optional for customers, which would be a much better result. And if they won't change it, they should just make it more clear. The lawmakers should own that they do not want Citizens to ever be challenged. They can't be challenged. Just pass a law. You can't sue Citizens. A hopeless situation is bad enough, but a situation that gives false hope and leads homeowners into a place where they might owe an insurance company a bunch of money, that is far worse. We're putting the links to the 2 articles I'm talking about in the comments. If you search for DOAH and Citizens, you're going to find even more stories happening across our state to homeowners everywhere.